This was supposed to be a cozy game. You catch cute creatures, you help weird characters, everyone goes home happy. At least, that's what I thought. But I couldn't finish it that way. Because the more time I spent on that island, the more I thought that comfort was the problem.
It all started when I flew into the island on my floating boat and a flying pizza monster knocked me off.
Is this why I'm struggling to write this? It sounds ridiculous.
But the island itself is very beautiful and cozy, starting off in a warm, welcoming environment. Yet there's so much biodiversity. You have the greenlands, the beach, a desert, a mountain, and a snowy top. Rich with life as it's inhabited by these creatures called grumpuses. Fluffy Muppet-looking characters filled to the brim with personality. Looks, however, can be very deceiving. They are friendly and get along with me just fine. However, with each other, it's a bit of a different story.
So the pink one hates the blue one who's married to the green one, not to be confused with the lighter blue one who loves everybody but is married to no one.
So Gramble hates Wampus because he doesn't respect him nor his passion. You see, Gramble is a breeder and he loves all of his little Bugsnax pets who he is able to teach to do tricks and behave. But Wampus only sees them as food, so he keeps on stealing them and eating them. Suddenly you have this massive tension between the two. But that's nothing a little Bugsnax between them can't fix. So Bugsnax doesn't fix the problem, but it makes them easier to ignore. And they are well-written characters instead of just being one beat like those Muppets on Sesame Street. Everyone has passions, regrets, things they're running from, dreams they are chasing. They are written as if they were actual people. Yet I found myself caring about them just as much. Now, all of them did not come to this island just because. They mostly came because of something they did and regret. Just villagers looking for a second chance, like Wampus wanting to build his own farm, Wiggle trying to find new inspiration for music, or Beffica trying to escape international law. But second chances isn't the only reason why they all came to Snacktooth Island. They came when they heard about these creatures called Bugsnax.
Is that why the title's called Bugsnax? The mystery goes deeper.
Bugsnax are these half-bug, half-snack creatures that allegedly taste delicious. They can't escape the island, which is why no one has ever heard of them before. But one look at them and they seem so familiar. A walking strawberry, a crawling hot dog, the entire Taco Bell menu. Each Bugsnax is special. However, you find out that they come in similar shapes, just with different coats of paint. There are multiple soda can ones, strawberries, and especially snack bugs, which is realistic. There are fruits and snacks that come in different colors. This, however, does not stop them from being so cool. They cry out their names like Pokemon, but unlike Pokemon, Bugsnax are harder to catch. With them being wild creatures, you can't just use your hands. You need to use every tool at your disposal to capture them.
Why isn't this working?
Using your snack scope to figure out their migrating patterns, and then you have to decide how you want to attack. If they're small enough, you can just set a trap and wait for them to walk in. But some of them are too big for the trap. That's when you need to trip them, make them lose their balance so that you can swoop in with your net and get them. But what about the ones flying in the air? Well, then you need to put down a launch pad, put the trap on it, aim it towards the Bugsnax, launch, and catch. And there are some that take even more steps. My favorite being the flaming hot chi poof. It is constantly on fire, so your trap will just burn up before you're ever able to catch it. So you need to think out of the box. There's a bobsicle that freezes everything it touches, so you need to lure it into the cave, trip the chi poof midair, have the bobsicle touch the chi poof, extinguishing the flame, and finally catch it with your net. The gameplay loop is addicting. There's nothing else that I wanted to do than to capture all of these adorable Bugsnax. With so many different types, small ones, fast ones, big ones, even boss Bugsnax. That's really the beauty of this island. Once you start, you just can't stop. Hours, even days would go by. I wouldn't talk to anybody. Sometimes I wouldn't even return to my hut because I was too busy catching Bugsnax. I was having so much fun on this island. Life on the island was comfortable. Although that line could be said about more things on the island. All these grumpuses do all day is whatever they want. Some still do work and research, but others just kind of walk around or lounge all day. There's no urgency to do anything on the island other than to keep eating Bugsnax and see their effects. You see, once a Bugsnax is eaten, a body part begins to change into the type of snack eaten. A strawberry snack will give you a strawberry arm and so forth. You can even customize any part of the body to make them look however you want. Apparently this change doesn't hurt at all, as they all edge me on to try it.
Ah, come on, Shiro. You need to try one.
No thanks, I don't want to try it.
You should, partner. I reckon you'll love it. Yeah, come on.
No, guys, please, I really don't want to try it.
I became an outsider at that point. I kept thinking to myself, did I make the wrong decision? I felt ashamed to be even around them after that. I tried to fix our relationship by just talking to them, but they would just get up and walk away. I mean, everyone else was doing it. Why shouldn't I do it as well? It was a lonely time on the island. The last thing anybody wants is to be excluded from a group, because anything, and I mean anything, is better than being alone. I thought that it couldn't hurt me to just try it once, or I don't want them to perceive me as weak, but I just couldn't shake the feeling that something about the Bugsnax was wrong. I wanted to learn more about them. Why do they all love it so much? That's when I started to see that every aspect of their lives revolved around Bugsnax. They use Bugsnax to make alcohol. It's the life of the party. Without it, you can't get a nice buzz. Everything became more fun with Bugsnax. They use Bugsnax as currency. Livers to get more Bugsnax than their neighbor. They would withhold valuable items from others just to try and get more Bugsnax. A whole societal hierarchy. They use Bugsnax for passion, to express how they truly feel and make it their whole personality. Bugsnax is a necessity for them to live. But the more I talked to everybody, the more they demanded Bugsnax. They couldn't go a day, let alone an hour, without some more of that comforting Bugsnax. They lost control of themselves and let the Bugsnax control what they wanted. I began to convince myself that this is the new normal. Everyone does it, and this is just how they behave now. But I was right to suspect the Bugsnax. The Bugsnax was never a comfort food. It was a parasite. This is how they reproduce. They completely take over one's body and break off to make new Bugsnax. They even begin to swarm their host and shove themselves into their mouth just so they can take over. It is a painful and horrific experience. I tried to warn them, even extending my hand to save them as the island's volcano began to erupt and shake the ground. However, they wanted nothing more than to stay with the Bugsnax, even if it meant their death. Their last words, filled with regret and sorrow about what they hated the most about themselves, and then admittance that Bugsnax was their only comfort in life.
No point in going back with them. I don't have a life or friends. Nobody I can really trust anyway. But Bugsnax, I can trust you to be delicious.
I'm such a failure. I couldn't even control my hunger. No wonder nobody believed in me.
There, little one. I would never abandon you. We're a family now. We're gonna be together forever.
Bugsnax is what happens when you are willing to sacrifice everything for comfort. While everyone needs comfort from time to time, if you have too much comfort, you begin to lose what makes your life so special. If you stay in a comforted state for too long, any bit of normalism feels agonizing. That's not to say redemption can't be achieved. One of the Grumpuses, Filbo, actually chooses to leave the island, and while it took a while for the Bugsnax to get out of his system, he learned how to return to a normal life.
Although, it would be better if people never learned about Bugsnax in the first place.